We're taking game night up a notch.
Uh-oh.
These three couples don't know
It's a murder mystery party.
the game is real.
What?
You people are in danger.
This is insane!
Baby, hand me those matches. I'm about to burn this door down.
You're gonna light a fire in a windowless room that we're trapped in.
You slept with Bill Nye, the science guy. He talks to you about flames.
You're like a double threat. Brains and you're British.
Thanks.
You're not Liam Neeson!
Right in my bullet hole.
Game Night. Rated R. Now playing.
In a world where podcasts reign supreme, two friends dare to ask, do you even movie? Hosted by filmmaker Henrique Couto and movie aficionado David D. Neuer. Spoiler alert.
Well, hello, my friends, and welcome back to another episode of Do You Even Movie? I'm, of course, your host, Henrique Couto, here with Double D, David Denoyer, and
Greetings.
as many people may not know, you are a Scrabble master.
I'm a Scrabble master. Is this a fact?
Now, yeah.
It's not.
Literally, because I've said this, it can now be on your Wikipedia.
That's fair, yes. I don't even know if I have a Wikipedia.
Why would you have a Wikipedia?
Maybe I do, and I've just never looked. I have to find out now.
Wow.
Hang on,
David,
hang on.
you don't have a Wikipedia.
Oh, I probably don't.
Take it from a guy who has a Wikipedia, and that's not a humble brag. It took forever for me to have a Wikipedia.
I mean, there's my dad's LinkedIn page I didn't know he had.
Well, now you've just given away that your dad has the same name as you, so now he's as good as dead.
I do not have a Wikipedia
Do you have
page.
any idea what the internet is like?
I have no Wikipedia page.
Well, anyway,
I have an IMDb page, though.
I'm very well aware
Yes,
of that.
you are, yes.
So tonight we're going to be talking about a film all about being competitive.
Mm-hmm.
It's The Mighty Ducks 2.
If only.
But before we get to the film of the night, we want to talk about another film of the night.
Yes, we do.
Just real quick, because we just got back from the movie theater where we saw The Strangers, Chapter 1. And the reason we're talking about it is because the sheer amount of hate I've seen on social media for it, the vitriol has been very strong.
Yes.
And I'm one of these annoying people that if I'm hanging out on Twitter, I'm hanging out on the Facebooks, I'm hanging out on Instagram, and I see everybody going like, oh, this is the worst thing that's ever happened to anything ever. I'm immediately like, maybe everyone's wrong. Plus, I have a soft spot for Rennie Harlan, and I think that he's often maligned unfairly.
Well, and I think you and I were already talking about this off mic, that unfortunately, horror fans are probably the most jaded of cinema fans when it comes to remakes, reboots, requels, legacy sequels.
You're telling tales out of class there, Double D.
I mean, why are there so many remakes, Enrique?
Because you touch yourself at night, David. But no. So we've heard a lot of hate, just like outrageous hate for what is literally one of 3 low-budget horror suspense movies
that follows the same story beat as 2008. That's what drove me crazy.
It does?
It really does.
Is 2008 the first one?
Yeah.
The original? I mean, you say 2008 like there's more than two. There were 2 of them
Pray
before
at Night,
this.
2008. Yes.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so people have been super mad. They've been like, oh, you know, it brought nothing new and blah, blah, blah. And first of all, maybe this is just the back pain medicine talking. I'm on half as much as I was last week.
Yes, last week you were pretty entertaining.
But it still hurts. Oh, heard it on set and now it still hurts. But who said that you are owed a reinvention of the wheel just because you pay for a movie ticket?
Yeah.
That's number one for me.
Yeah.
Who says that you are owed something completely different from anything you've ever seen? I thought, see, horror fans, they'll go this way. They'll be like, well, it just didn't bring anything new. But then they'll also be like, where are all the fun horror movies? Where are all the horror movies that are just like there to have a good time?
Yeah.
Why aren't there any more Friday the 13th movies? Well, surprise, motherfucker. If we get any more Friday the 13th movies, they're not going to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah, they're not.
Because it's like how mad people got when IHOP became IHOP.
Oh, IHOP, yeah, the House of Hamburgers or whatever it was, yeah.
Remember how mad people were?
Oh, yeah, no, that was a legit topic for like a week.
My point is that people want what they're familiar with.
Yeah.
That's what they want to get. So all I'm saying is, I'm not saying that therefore Strangers Chapter 1 is the greatest horror film ever or even of this year.
Yeah.
It's not.
It's not.
But it was absolutely fun for me.
Yeah.
Fun and suspenseful. It had great scares that really got me every time.
Yeah.
At 91 minutes when it was over, it had not overstayed its welcome for me.
No.
And I don't know, it's underperforming somewhat at the box office. Not massively, but it's also an affordable film.
Yeah.
It's not like some other horror films we've really enjoyed in the theater that cost $30 million and then made $12 million.
Yeah.
This one cost $8 million and made $12 million so far. But I'm excited to see 2 and 3 because they've clearly set up something interesting.
The way they left it makes it so that you were very curious where the series is going, because in a sense of horror trilogies right now, there are very brave ones like Halloween, Halloween Kills, and Halloween Ends.
Well, and they had the bravery was backed by being like the biggest hits of the year in horror.
Yeah.
And the decade in horror.
And then you got something like Exorcist Believer, which they put out one movie, and now this is like, let's just retool the entire trilogy that we had planned out.
You know, I mean, and they're probably going to go in an interesting different direction after Immaculate and First Omen doing so well.
Yeah.
But so my point is, I don't get the hate.
I don't either.
It's like, here's a simple horror suspense movie.
Yeah.
And what do you want?
Yeah.
I wanted to be spooked for 91 minutes, and I was. I don't remember the part where I was promised a life-changing experience from a little horror movie.
It's the same thing with everybody kind of shitting on Blumhouse still with like some of their titles. Most recently, Night Swim and Imaginary were two that
Imaginary was boss.
I haven't seen Imaginary yet, but I've heard Hellraiser vibes, and I'm all in.
No, you were one of those people. You were like, you put on your black T-shirt and you were just on Letterboxd going like, why do I have this? No,
that was not me at all.
I know.
I wanted to see Imaginary, but I just couldn't get around to it.
That's because you don't have a commitment to horror.
Oh, Jesus. But no, Night Swim, on the other hand, I will say it was not a bad movie, but I mean, it's the most spooky you're going to get with a haunted pool movie.
It had one of the strongest openings for horror of the whole year.
Yeah. But it's the best you're going to get with a haunted pool movie. That's not The Pool from 2001. Have you ever seen The Pool?
I mean, I saw it when it came out.
Yeah, James McAvoy's in it, by the way.
I don't have a strong memory of it.
It's not great, but I mean, it's got some cool things. There's a really cool water slide death in it. But no, I mean, like, horror right now is just in a position that we're getting the things that people have clamored for in regards of they want either a slasher film, which you've told me how they're not really, the slasher films.
Slasher films are not hot.
Yeah, they're not hot,
no.
And yet everybody like it seems to clamor for them in a sense.
I mean,
in the horror community,
they'll say they want them, but they don't go see them.
They don't go see them.
I mean, because you look at all the slasher movies that tried to get footing after Halloween 2018 came out. None of them were able to move much of a needle.
Besides Scream sequels.
Yeah, which is another remake of a very, very famous series.
Yeah.
Or a sequel, sorry.
And also, I mean, what are you going to do with the Strangers movie that's going to reinvent it?
What my point isn't what are you going to do? It's not that it can't be done. It's who promised you that.
Yeah, who promised you that? Yeah.
You know, I think that the real talk, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. I should probably warn everybody with this.
Watch out, guys. It's a hot take.
Real talk. I think the reason people are mad is because it's a remake of a 2008 horror movie.
Yeah.
And the reason they're mad is because when they were complaining about remakes in 2004, the movies they were remaking were almost as old as a 2008 film.
Yeah. And I think one of the other big problems that people have is that they've lost faith in Rennie Harlan, and that kind of upsets me a bit.
I mean, I think that he's a fun scapegoat for a lot of people.
So the number one thing that I've seen in regards to people asking, like, what happened to the Strangers is people saying what happened to Rennie Harlan, and everybody's saying, for the most part, Cutthroat Island was, like, you know, the big thing that he did that failed massively, a huge box office expenditure. But then that following year, he does The Long Kiss Goodnight.
You're also looking at his producing credits.
But I know, but he directed both those films.
I know,
too.
I'm just picking on you.
But yeah, no, I mean, that same year, or the year after that, he does The Long Kiss Goodnight.
Which is a phenomenal film.
Then he follows it up with Deep Blue Sea 2 years later.
And Deep Blue Sea is held up very well, actually.
Rennie Harlan, yeah, he's had some misses in there. I mean, people are hit or miss on his Exorcist beginning film. I think it's fun. I think it's better than...
It wasn't great, but it was pretty fun.
I think it's better than Schrader's. I think Schrader's is fine, but...
Whoa, shots fired.
Dominion is what it is. But then you have, like, The Covenant. I get that. 12 Rounds, the John Cena film. I also get that. I mean,
wait, is Cleaner the movie with Samuel Jackson?
I don't know if that's one or not. Let me check.
Is that the one with Samuel?
If it is, I mean, I like that movie.
Yeah,
it is.
That's
a great flick. Yeah,
that's a great film.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like people need to look at his filmography a little closer because there's a lot of good stuff in there that they probably missed because everybody's kind of focused on that point in the 90s where he kind of fell off.
Well, he also was never a horror name.
No.
I mean, he did
Prison and Nightmare on Elm Street 4 as like two of his first projects.
Yeah, but he was not like that. Those were not the films that established him massively in Hollywood. He's a big action guy.
And he's still, to be honest, there were scenes in Chapter 1 that got me in the theater. Like I saw you get got by them a couple times.
Yeah, there were a couple of jumps that like really worked.
That genuinely worked. So I think if people would just give it a chance and not go by all the word that's online and whatnot, they may enjoy it. They may not. I'm not here to tell you what you may or may not enjoy. I'm just telling you what I took away from it, and I had a good time with it.
Well, and all I'll say is something that I think is always worth saying. Maybe you're just mad because you're getting older and it scares the hell out of you. They're just trying to relaunch a brand that never really got the treatment it deserved. And in a way, I mean, it was a success.
Yeah.
But it never got to be a big franchise.
No.
And now all of a sudden they're trying something different with it.
And if I remember correctly, there weren't a lot of people that were big fans of Pray at Night. Like Pray at Night did well at the box office.
It was shockingly popular at the box office.
But for a lot of the people that I've seen talk about it for the most part, we're not big fans of it. They actually laugh about the Total Eclipse of the Heart scene.
I mean, I thought it was fun.
I love Pray at Night. Pray at Night was really fun.
So anyway, that all to be said, if you like horror movies, you like going to the theater to see movies that are going to startle you, scare you. I just don't have a complaint about it. But again, maybe I don't think I deserve a reinvention every single time I sit in the movie theater seat.
2 weeks ago, we went to see Tarot. I mean, I think you and I
And that was fun. You hated it.
I didn't hate it.
David hated it.
I did not hate it.
He literally hated it.
No, I did not. I just got tired of a jump scare after a second kill. That's all.
I'm so sorry the horror movie had too many jump scares.
I did not say anything except that. That's all I said was, okay, they used a lot of jump scares in that second kill, and then I enjoyed the rest of the movie.
Wow.
And also the PG-13 violence is really pushed in that one too.
Yeah, it is like very surprisingly bloody and very surprisingly violent for a PG-13.
PG-13 horror rocks.
So, well, I mean, you know what? People go to see PG-13 horror movies, and it's a lot harder to get a R-rated film to pack the theater. It just is.
And I mean, I'll be honest, like there was absolutely violence in Strangers Chapter 1, but
really?
I didn't really see much that coerced it an R rating.
No, well, yeah, it was very adult though.
Okay.
I mean, the themes, everything about it was adult.
Yeah.
It was not a kid's movie.
I'm not saying it's a kid's movie, no, but I'm just like, there's a separation between PG-13 horror and R-rated horror with fans that also drives me crazy, but that's a whole nother discussion.
Well, it's because there's this idea that there must be gore or there must be violence in order for it to be a horror film.
Yeah.
And that's something I've just never understood. Like when people are mad that Happy Death Day is PG-13, I'm like, what would have been better if it had been gory?
I do miss the infamous days of, just wait for the unrated version. Unrated version comes out, CGI blood inserted.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's just, I just don't understand how more gruesome is the only way that a horror movie can be better.
I don't think it is, because I personally have been very impressed with a lot of PG-13 horror films, thanks to you, honestly, in the last, I would say probably 5 years.
Because I told you to, get over yourself and enjoy?
Yeah, more so you were just like, we're going to go see this.
Yeah, of course we are, because if you love horror movies, and I love all movies, but horror is certainly a very special place in my heart. The fact is, if a horror movie is in the theater and you love horror, you should try to go see it to keep horror movies coming to the theater.
I remember one that I was completely against because the trailers did not grab me. It did not look interesting, but you and I decided to go. More so you were just like, let's go see this. And I was like, okay, The Boy.
Oh, yeah, you didn't want to see The Boy.
No, and then I was like, I think we rushed to see The Boy 2 because it was just like, how the hell is this getting a sequel?
Yeah, it was
given
fun
it was
stuff.
very different from the first one.
Oh, well, sure.
The Boy and The Boy 2, highly, highly recommend both those.
Fun stuff.
Yes.
So, and I guess that's my point, and that's the point of Do You Even Movie?
Yeah.
Is it's not about tearing films down. It's not about beating the drum of where's the perfect film, where's the better film. It's about the fact that we live our lives consuming things as we go.
Yeah.
Books, television shows, YouTube videos, TikToks, whatever. We consume all the live long day.
Yeah.
You're going to go to the theater. You're going to see a movie. You're going to get on Netflix. You're going to get on whatever. You're going to flip through all the shit. You're going to find something to watch. I'm not mad when not everything blows my mind.
Yeah. I mean, you can't.
That's all I'm saying.
You can't expect everything to be a winner or to be enjoyable for that matter. But I think, honestly, it also goes back to what are you looking for and what are you allowing yourself to enjoy?
Well, and also, you know, I see a lot of people saying like, well, that was okay, but it's a one and done for me. Homie, that's all a movie ever has to do.
Yeah, I mean, in most cases.
I'm just saying, you know why you don't see movies that you want to rewatch all the time?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're not 16 anymore.
No.
And that's not an insult to when we're kids, but when we're kids, we're formative, we're different. I still love to watch certain horror movies again and again.
Same.
But
yeah.
It's generally because they have nostalgia. There are a few exceptions, but one of them is the film we're going to be talking about tonight.
Yeah.
It's a film that came out in 2018 that we both were so floored by.
Yeah.
We watched it again when it came on home video.
Yeah.
And we really had a great time rewatching it.
And it was in that period too where it was just like we had so many of these kind of comedies coming out, but nothing that nailed it as perfect as this movie does.
Well, it's because the fun factor's off the scale.
Yes.
It's very funny.
Yeah.
But it is extremely fun and a wild ride.
And action-packed.
And I forgot how crazy the movie got, even with my mindset of I love it.
Yeah.
So, without further ado, David,
yes,
let's get the pertinent details of Game Night.
So Game Night came out in 2018. It is 1 hour and 40 minutes, rated R for language, sexual references, and some violence. I think it actually might be a little bit more than some.
Some violence?
Some violence
All right,
is
fine.
literally what it says, yeah. Director of this film, we have two directors on this film. One is John Francis Daley. He gets his start in 99, starring in Freaks and Geeks. Then he goes on to be in Boston Public in 2000, The Ellen Show 2001, Spin City 2002, Waiting 2005, Kitchen Confidential 2005. Have you ever seen the TV series Kitchen Confidential?
I don't think so.
So Burnt is a spinoff of Kitchen Confidential. Where
Burnt is?
Yeah. So Burnt was, Kitchen Confidential came in 2005, Burnt came, I can't remember when we said it, but we had it as a recommendation. I think it was 2017, 2016. It's basically the story of Anthony Bourdain's experience in kitchens, and that's what that series
What
got.
did he do in kitchens?
A lot. But that's the TV series was on Fox. It only got one season, but Kitchen Confidential with Bradley Cooper, I cannot recommend enough. And also, if you like that, then check out Burnt. But he's a really funny part of Kitchen Confidential in that.
Burnt. I pick on Burnt. I thought it was a perfectly fine film.
Yeah, it's enjoyable.
Again, a good example of like it didn't have to reinvent the wheel. I had a good time watching it.
It didn't set you on fire?
Nothing got burnt. It didn't set the world on fire. Anyway.
Bones in 2007, Yo Gabba Gabba 2010, Horrible Bosses 2011, The Incredible Burt Wonderstone 2013. It's not until 2011, though, that he gets his writing credit with Bones in 2011. He does writing credit on Horrible Bosses, The Incredible Burt Wonderstone, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 2, Horrible Bosses 2, The Vacation remake, sequel, whatever you want to call it, in 2015. Spider-Man Homecoming 2017.
Of course, yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves in 2023. The Flash, he has a writing credit on in 2023.
I think even I have a writing credit on The Flash
Probably.
at this point.
He becomes a director in 2015 with the Vacation sequel remake, Game Night in 2018, and then most recently did the Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves, which you enjoyed.
That was super fun.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. I really want to.
And Vacation was really fun. We laughed out loud in the theater.
It had some fun stuff
Don't
to
act
it.
like you didn't enjoy it in the theater.
I just, Chevy's cameo in that was a bit painful. The whole family cameo in that was a bit painful.
David, people get old.
I'm not saying never mind.
Okay, Dave.
Second director is Jonathan Goldstein. He gets his writing credit in 99 with a little TV show, Henrique, called Big Wolf on Campus.
I loved Big Wolf on Campus.
I know you did.
Merton Dingle was the goth best friend who I thought was the coolest, and that was a key element of the lineup of Fox Family, which was a truly special time
Especially
for kids
around
my
Halloween.
age.
Oh my God, the Halloween lineup.
But I don't know how much of Fox Family you could remember, because that was 99, 2000.
Yep.
But that was a very special thing. There are documentaries on YouTube that I highly recommend you look up, the Fox Family story.
Fox Family.
It's a whole other thing.
They hosted Mystic Knights of Tiranoog, which I took down religiously. Like, I watched that show a lot, and then I revisited it like 10 years ago, and I was like, wow, this show's terrible.
Well, what Fox Family did that made it so special was that when they started the channel, I forget the exact amount, but they infused that channel with an obscene amount of cash, like $150 million.
Yeah.
And they made almost entirely new content. The channel had very few reruns. It had very few pickups from other places. And that's what made Fox Family really special, is they had crazy amounts of original content.
Mystic Knights of Tiranoog, Big Bag Beetleborgs, Big Wolf on Campus.
Big Bad Beetleborgs was a Fox show.
Yeah.
It was not on Fox Family.
It wasn't on Fox Family?
No.
Okay.
I mean, it may have been rerun briefly.
Probably, that's what it was.
But Big Bad Beetleborgs was on Fox.
So he does Big Wolf on Campus in 99, The PJs 2000, The Weekenders 2001, Teacher's Pet 2002, Teachers in 2006, New Adventures of Old Christine in 06, Shit My Dad Says in 2011.
Oh, that shortly lived.
That was a fun show. I liked that show.
You know, you got the Shatner in it.
Yeah.
You know?
Bones 2011, Horrible Bosses, Incredible Burt Wonderstone, Clyde Chance of Meatballs 2, Horrible Bosses 2, Vacation, Spider-Man Homecoming, Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves, and of course The Flash in 2023. He also has the same lineup directing as John Francis Daley.
So they directed together.
Together, yeah. They did those 3 movies as a team, so that is where they got their start on that. Moving down to our writer, we have Mark Perez, who got his start in 1998 with a TV film called I Can't Believe You Said That. He then goes on to do Frank McCluskey CI in 2002, The Country Bears in 2002 as well.
That's what's up. All right.
Herbie Fully Loaded 2005.
Hey, that's a fun one.
It's fun. My personal favorite on this list, though, is Accepted in 2006, South at Hartman Institute of Technology. Welcome to shit.
What is this?
You've never seen the Justin Long comedy, Accepted, where he fakes the college?
I don't think so.
Oh, man, Fat Jonah Hill.
Okay.
Justin Long, Blake Lively, Lewis Black, the guy that plays an asshole in Silence of the Lambs that he was on a movie we did, Bushwhacked, Anthony Held.
Okay.
Or held, and then I'm trying to think who else is in it. But no, basically Justin Long decides to make a fake college because he doesn't want to. He basically gets dropped out of any other school that he wanted to attend to. All the ones he applied to, they deny him. So he decides to fake a college, uses the money. Well, then when they make the website, they make acceptance is just one click away. So anybody that clicks on this gets accepted instantly. So then they have a college full of people.
So it's basically College Now.
College Now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I got to show you Accepted, though. So he does that in 2006, Back 9, 2010, and then a writer on Game Night in 2018. It is said that his original screenplay for Game Night did get rewritten by both Goldstein and Daley. They're
a writing
it up
team,
and everything,
yeah.
So yeah.
I like that you said it is said, as if this is like...
It is said.
And on dark, cold nights just like these... It's said
I'm just
that
saying,
Mark Perez's script was rewritten.
Perez has the only writing credit, and Daley and Goldstein have the directing credits. They don't have writing credits.
Likely that means that they changed less than 20%.
Apparently, one of the biggest things they changed was Gary. His character got reworked.
Well, I mean, he's a hell of a character.
Yes. So the cinematographer is Barry Peterson. He gets his start in 1989 as a visual effects director on Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan.
Now we're cooking with gas, kids. The directors of photography always bring the goods.
Effects cameraman on that film. Then in 89, he also does Millennium, where he is the light and motion camera director. It's not until 2001 that he lands his director of photography role.
And I'm sure it's an ultimate classic.
Zoolander.
Holy shit. That's great. I love that.
He goes on to shoot Dark Blue with Kurt Russell in 2002, Hollywood Homicide 2003, Starsky and Hutch 2004, Jumper 2008, The Cape TV series in 2011, 21 Jump Street in 2012, The Watch in 2012, We're the Millers 2013, Brooklyn Nine-Nine 2013, The Lego Movie in 2014, 22 Jump Street 2014.
Was there I don't think how did the Lego Movie have a DP?
I don't know.
Huh.
Oh, because they didn't have real segments. Will Ferrell, the cutaway.
Oh, okay.
Cutting stuff with that, yeah. Vacation 2015, Sisters 2015, Central Intelligence 2016, The Good Place TV series 2016, The Space Between Us 2017, Then he does Game Night in 2018, follows that with The Spy Who Dumped Me, Goosebumps 2, Haunted Halloween.
All right.
Thunder Force in 2021, Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves in 2023, and most recently completed My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3 in 2023.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, I don't know how many times those fat Greeks need to get married, but
I haven't seen
I'm
the third
happy
one yet.
for them.
I like the first and the second. I haven't seen the
Who
third
doesn't?
one yet. They're really
You know what's funny
charming.
is I can talk smack, but like when you say like I really like My Big Fat Greek Wedding, it's like, yeah, you and the world.
Then the
it's
world.
great.
Yeah.
It's
No,
just
it's
great.
fantastic.
It's a great one.
So our synopsis on IMDb says, a group of friends who meet regularly for game nights find themselves entangled in real-life mystery when the shady brother of one of them is seemingly kidnapped by dangerous gangsters.
And what's your bad one?
My bad one is a weekly game night with friends takes an unexpected turn when one of them is kidnapped by criminals during gameplay, not realizing it isn't part of the game. The group break off to try and solve the mystery and find their friend.
Why didn't you just write the entire film in there?
I mean, I
Jeez.
could have, yes.
Here's mine, okay? A group of friends get together for a game night.
There at the end?
Yeah.
Okay, fair.
Just kidding.
So moving down our cast, we have Jason Bateman, who plays Max. He gets his start in 81 on Little House on the Prairie, does Silver Spoons 82, Knight Rider, Saint Elsewhere. Then in 87, he does the Bates Motel TV film.
Really?
Mm-hmm. He's not Norman. He's one of Lori Petty's interest in that.
And he is Jason Bateman.
He is Jason Bateman.
No, you know what's funny is I was thinking as we were watching the film, I was actually looking forward to your description because
Yeah.
I don't know where he came from aside from, gosh, I don't even remember when he first came on my radar.
So Teen Wolf 2 is 87, which is the same year as Bates Motel.
I did know about Teen Wolf too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then he does Moving Target in 88, Necessary Roughness 91, A Taste for Killing in 92, Chicago Suns TV series 97, Love Stinks 99. Have you ever seen Love Stinks?
I have not.
If I remember correctly, the cast is French Stewart.
I like him because his eyes are always closed.
Damn it, there's another one in that. It's French Stewart, and I think, is it Steve Guttenberg?
You had time to research.
I did have
this.
time, but I had it in my head and then I blanked. So shut up for a second.
I mean,
while I look this up.
that's not new.
French Stewart, Bridget Wilson. Let's see. We also have Bill Bellamy, Jason Bateman. There's another one. There's another big name, Tyra Banks. Damn it, there is another big name in this, but I can't remember right now.
Okay. Is the big name
It
in the
played-
room with us right now,
It played on
David?
TV a lot. That's how I know.
Is the big name in the room with us now,
Love
David?
Stinks 1999, The Sweetest Thing 2002, Twilight Zone reboot in 2003, Starsky and Hutch in 04, Dodgeball where he plays Pepper Brooks in 2004, one of my favorites, The Breakup 2006, Smokin' Aces, The Kingdom, Juno, Forgetting Sarah Marshall, Hancock, State of Play, Extract, Up in the Air, The Invention of Lying.
Shoot, I think that the first time I really knew of him was Extract.
Extract?
I mean, Teen Wolf 2,
He
sure.
is the
but-
lead in Extract too.
But
yeah.
Extract, well, and Extract is fucking good.
It's got some funny stuff.
No, that's great.
It's fine.
No, David.
Dude, I revisited it 2 years ago. It's fine in my opinion, personally.
David,
Just saying.
maybe after you are more of an adult.
I bought that the day it came out.
All I'm saying is I rewatched it with a buddy a couple years ago, and I was floored how good it is.
It's got some good stuff.
It's
Gene
really
Simmons
good.
is really funny in it, surprisingly, too.
Oh, he's a funny guy.
Yeah. The Invention of Lying in 2009, Couples Retreat 2009, The Switch, Paul, Horrible Bosses, The Change Up, Identity Thief, Bad Words in 2013.
I fucking love
that
Bad
may
Words.
be a future episode.
I wouldn't mind revisiting Bad Words. That's
I was
a really
so
great
happy to
flick.
show you that movie. God, that movie's so much fun. This Is Where I Leave You, 2014, Horrible Bosses 2, The Gift, Zootopia, Office Christmas Party, Ozark, Game Night, Thunder Force, and then most recently in 2023, he was in Air.
I want to mention real quick.
I knew you would. Ozark?
Oh, Ozark is amazing.
Okay, I
sure.
figured it was.
Yeah, everybody fucking knows Ozark's amazing. It's the number one show on Netflix. No,
The Gift.
The Gift is his best work. He is so good. If you've never seen The Gift, you should really watch it. But he's so good in it. Patrick Bateman, that's his name, right?
Jason
Bateman. Patrick Bateman.
Patrick Bateman is American Psycho.
That's even better. But no, Jason Bateman, in The Gift, he plays like one of the most nuanced characters I've ever seen in a film ever. He has like a dark side, but he's also very funny and witty. I found him so believable as that character that it was uncomfortable in like a very deeply impressive way. So I can't recommend that. I saw it 4 times in the theater.
Yeah. The Gift is a really good for Bateman. I also really like him in Juno because he starts out as a good guy and then maybe not so much. That's all I'll say.
Well, hell.
I love Juno. Rachel
You
McAdams is our next on the list. She plays Annie in the film. She gets her start in 2000 with the famous Jet Jackson series on Disney, then does Earth Final Conflict 2002, The Hot Chick 2002, Mean Girls 2004, The Notebook 2004, Red Eye 2005.
Oh, she's amazing in Red Eye.
Wedding Crashers in 05, The Family Stone in 05, The Lucky Ones, State of Play, The Time Traveler's Wife, Sherlock Holmes in 2009, Midnight in Paris in 2011, Game of Shadows Sherlock Holmes in 2011, The Vow, Passion, About Time, A Most Wanted Man, Aloha in 2015, Southpaw 2015, True Detective, Spotlight in 2015.
Spotlight, burn bright. Oh.
Doctor Strange in 2016, Game Night in 2018, What If in 2021, Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness in 2022, and then most recently she was in Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret in 2023, and she's also on the, I believe it's Hulu series Dave.
Ugh, sounds awful.
I think it's an FX series, but it's
I
on
mean,
Hulu.
with a name like that, who needs to watch it?
And then wrapping us up is Jesse Plemons, who plays Gary in this. The reason I chose Plemons is actually Kyle Chandler was next on the list, but I was like, I want to know what Plemons has done because, like,
Plemons is since Breaking Bad. I mean, he's just exploded.
So he gets to start in '99 with Varsity Blues.
Okay.
Then he goes on to do an episode of Walker, Texas Ranger in 2000, All the Pretty Horses in 2000. He appears on Sabrina the Teenage Witch in 2001, Like Mike in 2002. Judging Amy 2003, appears on CSI, Huff, NCIS, Grey's Anatomy.
He was on Huff?
He was on Huff.
I loved that show when it was airing, but I don't remember him in it.
Friday Night Lights series in 2006, Fear Itself in 2008. He's in the Sacrifice episode with the criminals in the snow fort.
That's a good one.
That is a very good one. Observe and Report 2009, Paul 2011, Battleship 2012.
Observe and Report, one of my favorite movies of all time.
I mean, fantastic. Probably future episode. The Master, Breaking Bad, The Homesman, Black Mass, Bridge of Spies, Fargo TV series in 2015, American Made 2017, Hostiles 2017, The Post, Black Mirror, Game Night in 2018, then goes on to be in Vice the same year, The Irishman, El Camino, a Breaking Bad story, I'm Thinking of Ending Things in 2020.
Which is one of my favorite performances of his for just being, I mean, that movie is so, I'm Thinking of Ending Things is so out there.
Yeah.
And his character is very out there.
Judas and the Black Messiah in 2021.
Oh, yeah, just talk right over it.
I'm sorry,
Okay,
I thought you were done. My apologies.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
My
fine.
God.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Go on. You do the show by yourself.
Jungle Cruise 2021. Antlers 2021. Did you like Antlers?
You're on your own.
Shut up. Did you like Antlers?
I thought it was fun.
I thought it was good. Killing of the Flower Moon 2023. Civil War 2024. And we'll be in Kinds of Kindness in 2024 as well.
Kinds of Kindness.
The new movie from the guy that did Poor Things. I can't think of his name.
It's fine that you can't.
That's fine.
I loved The Lobster, but I have not liked his later stuff so much.
I just watched Killing of a Sacred Deer for the first time, and that is highly recommended.
Yeah, Rachel's going to have me do that one for cutting deep into horror.
Yeah, it would be a good call, because my God, that movie's out there. So I am sad to report that unfortunately at this time, Game Night is not currently streaming anywhere for free, but you can easily find it on VOD.
Free as well.
Yes.
Yeah. But you can rent it or buy it.
Yes.
With money.
With money indeed. So let's talk about our first time watching this, shall we?
No.
I remember that we were amped for it, but like it could have gone either way because I felt like at that point we were kind of oversaturated with comedies not really knocking it out of the park at this point.
No.
No,
you're wrong.
Am I?
No. I remember. I just remember our expectations were low. We figured it would be a funny thing. We liked the people attached to it, especially the actors.
Absolutely.
And we definitely went to see it like right away. We knew we wanted to see Game Night. But I think it was about halfway through it, or maybe 25 minutes in, that we both had that moment where we were like, we do this thing when we're in the theater.
Yes, we do.
When we're watching a movie, especially one that we weren't entirely sold on, where one will inevitably lean to the other and go, "This is pretty good."
Fun.
I'm really liking this. Which actually I did when we saw Strangers. Just because I wasn't expecting much.
Yeah.
And so once like the 20-minute mark had hit, I was like, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
But I remember thinking that and then just laughing out loud the entire film.
If I remember correctly, and I could be wrong, but I believe
you are wrong.
I believe this is one where you said, where I think you may have said the infamous Enrique quote of, "Oh, I can't wait to watch that bomb."
Oh, I might have said that.
I'm pretty sure you did.
I don't know though. I feel like I like that one looked like it was gonna hit.
I think it was
this
probably
was before it became that friggin' predictable.
Yeah, but I mean, I think this is also around the same time as Tag, and there's one in particular that I cannot think of for the life of me. But we had a slew in there of comedies in theaters where they weren't landing with us personally.
Yeah, it's called. Pardon, I'm sorry to have to say this, but it's called the Trump years.
Mm-hmm.
Comedy movies just started to suck.
Yeah,
for the most part, and that's all I have to say about it. But
yeah, fair enough.
It's true.
Yeah,
and this one was a real shocking breath of fresh air. Very, very much.
I'm just curious, real quick.
God, here we go.
I just want to see what 2018 comedies looked like.
Oh gosh,
what?
This is a bad idea.
Simple Favor, 8th Grade, mid-90s, Game Night, Life of the Party, Vice. I don't know if that's
okay.
comedy.
Well, I was gonna say mid-90s isn't even really a comedy.
No. Tag, Blockers, Deadpool, Tully, Crazy Rich Asians, Instant Family.
Okay, so Cock Blockers was a similar type of movie.
Blockers was Blind Spotting. Blind Spotting, comedy.
It's hilarious. One of the best films I've ever seen in my life, but
Blind Spotting,
not particularly funny.
No.
But no, like it seems that was the era of stuff like Blockers, stuff like Neighbors. You know, that was
Neighbors
the stuff
2,
that was still
Sisters.
clicking.
Yeah.
But we've seen a real decline. Like it's gotten to a point really bad now where when I see a comedy in the theater that I'm excited to watch.
Yeah.
I'm like, better catch it quick. Most of the time, these comedies just aren't hitting. The last one to really friggin' hit was it Anyone But You or Anyone But Him?
Anyone But You.
Anyone But You, the rom-com?
Yeah.
I loved Anyone But You.
I still got to see it, yeah.
Of course, because you were like, it's girl stuff and girls are icky.
Shut up.
You said that. I have a
not
recording.
say that.
I have a recording. You said some other really bad stuff, too.
Honestly, one of my favorites recently, and again, it's that gray level on comedy, but I really like The Holdovers.
Well, The Holdovers... But I don't. But that's not a like belly laugh comedy.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Is like no, that was a phenomenal film.
Yeah,
but I'm talking about those movies where it's like you walk in, you're like, well, gonna laugh a bunch, and I feel like I don't know what it is exactly, but like I haven't left a movie theater comedy with like my face hurting in a long time.
Oh,
I feel like it's been way too long since a comedy made me laugh like nonstop. But some good examples. Daddy's Home 1 and 2.
Yes, absolutely.
Great comedy.
Fist Fight. I fucking love Fist Fight.
Fist Fight was super funny. May not have done super well, but it was super funny.
American Made's not a comedy.
Great film. Not a comedy.
Disaster Artist, I guess, is kind of...
It was kind of a comedy.
The House I enjoyed, but it's really stupid. Father Figures I enjoyed, but also it did not do well.
Yeah, Father
either.
Figures was kind of...
Logan Lucky, I guess you could consider that a comedy.
I mean, it's funny. It's pretty funny.
So I mean that illuminates kind of like where we were at this point. So this was a breath of fresh air because we were having fun watching this, and then it just landed all the marks.
And it just got more and more ridiculous as the film progressed.
Yes, and let's go ahead and get into it. Are you ready?
No.
So we open with a very creative intro as we see a bunch of falling pawns and game pieces like you see with the Monopoly car. You see like pieces from Sorry, and they're all decked out. One is the Warner Brothers logo, one is the New Line Cinema logo, and they're all just kind of falling and kind of setting up the tone for the movie as we meet Max and Annie at a bar. They're at a bar for trivia night, and Max is kicking ass in trivia. And they both land on the same question and answer it at the same time, and you immediately see these two people kind of just fall in love.
Wow.
Yes. People.
These people.
Max, of course.
It's super cute.
Yeah, Max, of course, Jason Bateman. Annie is Rachel McAdams, and they immediately fall in love. We see them making out on the train, and we see their relationship just get further and further at game nights with friends, and they're just starting to kick ass. Like they're one-word answers get landing.
All they are establishing is that both of them are extremely competitive and that they love that about each other.
Yeah. And the one thing I forgot to mention is that when Max first meets her, she's on a date with a guy, and he completely just steals her. So then the way that they announce game night for the title and everything is he proposes to her to game night, and the guy that was there with her originally is like, "I'm so happy for you," chugs a beer.
I didn't get the vibe they were there together, but they did insult the shit out of him when they were playing charades. She was pointing at him. It was like, old, bald, fat, loser, and he's like, excuse me?
Yeah.
And I forget his name, but he's a very funny actor who played him. So
then we see their wedding, and they have Dance Dance Revolution at it, and that's when we get the title for game night. We rejoin Max and Annie at a fertility clinic.
Which is where, the laughs will never stop at the fertility clinic.
Absolutely
Let's
not.
go to an orphanage after, Mom.
God.
Come on.
So they're finding out that Max has issues with his semen. His count is fine, but basically that they think that he has anxiety and stress that's causing it to not be as strong as it needs to be, and Annie figures out that this is probably due to the fact that Brooks, Max's brother, is coming to visit, and he is the more successful of them and has the more charming charisma in her mindset, basically. What? That's what they say.
I'm basically.
All right.
I'm picking on Dave today. You know why, guys? Because Dave's a prick. If you want to know more, email in. No, go ahead.
How rude. So the doctor...
Honestly, my back really hurts.
I can tell you're in some pain. The doctor even tries to question about Brooks because she's on a break right now and single, so she even starts asking about his looks.
Oh,
and
that was hilarious.
Stuff.
She's talking about his brother, and then she goes, is he single? What?
Yeah.
Well, me and so-and-so were on a break, and he's like, what? That's her husband. Oh. Yeah, because his brother is super handsome.
Yeah. Played by Kyle Chandler.
Who is great in this.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a guy who wasn't really on my radar until The Big Short.
Big Short, yeah.
Is what really, and Wolf of Wall Street.
Wolf of Wall Street,
because he's great in that too.
Oh God, when him and Leo get into it on that dock, and he's just throwing the lobsters.
Have some lobster. No, but it is funny because he does kind of favor Bateman a little bit.
Yeah,
they have a similar dark complexion, dark hair, or a complexion with dark hair rather.
Yeah.
And yes. There's a great part later where he says, like, have you seen a guy in here looks kind of like me, but a little taller, higher cheekbones? He's like, so a guy more attractive than you. And he's like,
I didn't say that.
It's stuff like that. So funny.
So good.
And his brother's insanely wealthy, super successful. Yeah, good times.
So we then cut to a shot where we get, as Henrique and I both had noticed, a tilt shift lens over some houses.
I was excited to use my filmmaking knowledge to tell David how they did it.
Yes.
And he was like, I found it on Wikipedia.
Not Wikipedia. It was on IMDb trivia.
Oh. So
go ahead.
But the effect, I'm not going to tell you exactly how to do it because that's boring, but the effect that a tilt shift lens gives you is it allows, it basically changes the way the focal length of the lens works. And it has this magical capability of making things look small.
Yeah.
So when you use a tilt shift lens from, say, a drone or from really high up, it will make the area look like it messes with your sense of perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes things look tiny, like they're little toy cars. And it is freaky. It really does do that. And I got a chance to borrow a friend's tilt shift lens once and played with it. Mm-hmm. And it literally just does that.
It's
cool. So bizarre, though. It really will make a real full-size car just look like it's a fucking Matchbox.
It looks like they're pulling up
weird.
in the Game of Life. Like that's the establishing shot we get.
And they use it multiple times for big establishing shots in order to make everything look like a game board.
Yep.
And that was one of the first damn things when we were in the theater that I thought was so cool.
Yes.
Was that effect.
Absolutely is. So then we find Annie and Max returning home as they run into their neighbor, Gary, who is questioning about game night because we find out that Gary was with their friend Debbie, and unfortunately Gary and Debbie got divorced, so now they really don't associate much with Gary.
Unfortunately for Strictly Gary. So they're questioning about game night, and they deny it, and they say they're just having a night in, and he notices that they have 3 bags of Tostitos chips. Of Tostitos
scoops.
David can't talk anymore.
Shut up. Go ahead and do the joke.
Oh no, it's just one of my favorite gags in the whole film is he notices they have 3 full bags, like family size, party size bags of Tostitos scoops, and they say, "Oh yeah, they were doing a 3-for-1."
3-for-1.
And without missing a beat, Gary, played by Jesse Plemons, just goes, "How could that possibly be profitable for Frito-Lay?"
Yep.
And I remember in the theater cackling at that joke. How could that
Yes.
possibly be profitable for Frito-Lay?
So they deny it again. They eventually go inside, and they're discussing that Gary's wife, Debbie, was their friend, but they only put up with him when they were together. So since they're not now, he's not getting invited to any further game nights. And we kind of get through the rest of the movie that Gary really wants to be involved, and that may or may not come back.
Did we mention that he's a cop?
Oh, he is a cop.
It's worth mentioning because he's literally standing there in his uniform.
In his uniform with his dog Bastion, who is a what kind of dog is it? It's
He's
like
a white Scotty.
A Scotty, yeah.
A Scotty Terrier, yeah.
So all their friends start to arrive, but it's funny because they start sneaking in through the window because to avoid Gary catching on to them, they tell them to sneak in, thinking that they're going to just sneak through the front door. No, they all start coming through windows.
The windows. I love that part. She's like, "Why is this Night of the Living Dead?" Because people are just crawling through the windows.
So they all start to assemble, and they're like, do we want to start game night? And Max is like, no, let's find, like, we don't have to wait for Brooks. And then everyone's excited then that Brooks is coming, and then Brooks pulls up in a Stingray, which is, we find out, Max's dream car as a kid.
Yeah, and he says like that. He's like, yeah, that was my dream car. He's like, yeah, that's what gave me the idea.
Yeah.
Also, one of the little side things they mentioned that made me really laugh was one of the friends mentions like, yeah, works on Wall Street. He got in early on Panera bread. And he's like, really? He's like, yeah, the Fiji apple salad. His idea.
And of course, Max is like, well, he was like one of many.
There were a lot of backers.
A lot of backers. And of course, as Gary pulls, as Brooks pulls up, he's blaring his car radio, and Gary is inside the house, but we don't see him. And then Max looks over, cuts back, and Gary's right there, just standing there
like a horror movie. They use horror movie music too. It's great.
So they resume game night, and they're doing charades, and that is when. Excuse me, what is this mansion?
Oh, God, Dave's drunk, by the way.
Nope, it's my notes. It's fine. Oh, that's when Marilyn Manson is brought up as one of the charades things. So Brooks puts the thing down and tells an embarrassing story about Max basically trying to suck his own dick and using bungee cords to do so. He got stuck, and the mom caught him eventually. That may come back again.
It may.
It may. So that's when he gets 7 in a row. Brooks gets 7 in a row. Max steps up trying to basically get in sync with Annie, and he completely loses. Like, they get no points that round because apparently they ran into Edward Norton at an airport and she does not remember that. So then when he starts, like, they're like, hey, other people are here, and he finally gets it out and they do not get any points. So Brooks shows up Max with 7 points on the board.
Boom.
So that's when the night ends, as Brooks invites everyone over to his house next week for a game night to remember, and Annie expresses her frustration. She's like, I see what it is now. Your brother's, like, fucking this up. Like, we got to go kick his ass at game night.
Yeah, we do.
So they need to fix this and beat his ass at game night. And then 1 week later, we're cutting to the new game night as we see Gary catching Annie and Max as they're leaving for game night. And Gary, once again, he's like, oh, well, I was going to invite you over for a nice dinner. I've got some lamb shanks. It's actually Debbie's recipe. I thought that she left me the recipe box as like a final token, but it was probably just a
It was maybe as a well wish for, life, but more likely it was an oversight.
So they blow him off, and they arrive at Brooks's house, and Ryan introduces his new date, Sarah. We forgot to talk about Ryan. He always shows up with a different girl, apparently, but they're all alike.
Yeah, they all look very similar. They're all just like young girls you probably met at the mall.
Yeah, so he invites Sarah over this time, which is a woman he works with, and that's when Max offers up a stack of game boards to Brooks as they walk in. Brooks, wanting to be theatrical, throws all the game boards to the side.
Well, and of course, Bateman's reaction is very Bateman, just to drive like, oh, well,
you didn't have to do that.
You really didn't have to throw all the boards.
And that's when Brooks tells them that tonight it's going to be like nothing they've ever experienced before, and that this is going to be a game night they'll never forget. And that's when he invites them to go ahead and play a drinking game for the next hour because they are waiting for a game that's hosted by a company that uses actors. They won't be able to tell what's real and what's not, and the winner is going to get the keys to the Stingray.
So it's basically a murder mystery party.
Murder mystery party. Murder mystery party.
There we go.
God damn. Take it for a second.
Oh God, what? How do I not say something offensive? No,
So Brooks says the game will begin within the hour, and until then they're going to play a drinking game, and that's when we get into one of the subplots of this was Kevin and Michelle, which is one of their friends, and they're doing Never Have I Ever, and I think it's Ryan that says, never have I ever slept with a celebrity. Michelle takes a drink, and Kevin's like, wait, have you slept with a celebrity?
Yeah, and then we find out it gets more awkward because they've been together since high school.
Yes.
And they've only been with each other.
Yes.
Yes.
But they took a break.
They took one break.
And that is when this may or may not have happened, which we'll get to later. So outside, we see 2 men are waiting in a van stating they're outside, and they'll report back when they have him. Inside, the drinking game resumes. Michelle takes a sip, and that's when Kevin kind of gets into the fight with her. But then a knock at the door echoes as Brooks lets in an FBI agent guy played by I can never remember his name. He was in American Fiction. Why am I blanking on his name? Jeffrey something.
I can't remember his name either, but he was the star in American Fiction, and he's super good.
Yeah, super good, and he's posing as Agent Henderson in this, and he states that a group of kidnappers have been seen in the area, and someone in this room might fall to be the victim. Suddenly, the door is kicked in as 2 guys enter, and Agent Henderson is like, what the hell's going on here? They punch him, knock him out, and that's when we get like a 2.5-minute brawl between Brooks and these 2 guys, where they're just fighting all over the house.
A pretty epic brawl.
Epic indeed, because the friends are watching it. They think it's all part of part of the game, and that's when like Brooks is like tossed around the kitchen, tossed through a fireplace. He's fighting these guys off. Suddenly, they get the upper hand on him. They cuff him, they gag him, and they take him out the door. And they tell the guys, like, don't anybody follow us.
Yeah, Jeffrey Wright was
Jeffrey
his name,
Wright,
by the way.
thank you. Yeah. And they're like, anybody follows us is gonna get shot. And of course, Bateman's like, okay,
the
drive
entire
safe.
fight, they're just like, wow, this is so cool.
Everybody, get some of this cheese. This is the best cheese.
But they're like smashing into walls and breaking things, and it's like a big fight.
Yeah.
And the whole time they're just sitting there like eating cheese and drinking champagne,
commenting on
and
it,
going like, wow.
And Brooks at one point does lose a gun. He pulls out a gun and gets kicked to the floor.
Yeah, it was on his ankle.
Yeah, and Rachel McAdams ends up picking it up. We'll get to that in a second as well. So they carry him out, and that is when they applaud, and they are also given the clues that Agent Henderson gave them before he was knocked out. So they start looking at the clues because they think game night's still going as planned.
Yeah, because they're looking at the little pads. They were dossiers.
Yeah,
they
dossiers.
were given from the FBI.
So Max and Annie, being smart, decide to go ahead and grab Brooks's iPad, and they start tracking his phone because they feel like the only way they're going to be able to win is if they cheat in this sense. Ryan and Sarah use Brooks's last few charges, and they call out to his credit card company and find the name of the murder mystery company. And Michelle and Kevin figure out the first clue, which turns out to be a flash drive that's found in a stapler. And right as they get to the second clue, Ryan locks them in as they leave. So Andy and Max are still tracking the phone, and they arrive at a dumpster where they find Brooks's phone, but they also see that it's right across the street from this bar, and they recognize one of the kidnappers is outside the bar as well. So they go inside, and they're thinking, again, this is all part of the game, so they start looking at this bartender, and that's when they make the comment about asking if they've seen a guy like this, and he's like, oh, somebody more attractive than you, and that's when they decide that since he's in on this, and he's terrible at acting, they're going to test him with drinks.
Yeah, so they're like, if he was a real bartender,
he would know how to make a vodka tonic.
Yeah, Rachel McAdams immediately, vodka tonic.
And then Max is like Harvey Wallbangers. So they catch sight then also of Brooks tied up in a back room, so they know they're in the right spot. So the guy serves them the drinks, and she's like, did he make it right? And he's like, actually, I've never had a Harvey Wallbanger before, but it's delicious.
This is delicious. Yeah, it's a little tart.
So Annie, thinking the gun's fake, draws the gun, and that's when she has all the guys drop to their knees, and it's kind of a funny scene because she kind of does Simon Says with them, and they're like, put your hands up, put your heads on the ground, and the guy's like, well, how can I put my hands up and my head on the ground?
You want to put my head on the ground and my hands up. How do I do that?
And she does a child's pose in yoga, showing them how to do it.
Makes them all do, child's pose in yoga, which is very, very funny.
So then Kevin questions who she had the affair with back with Michelle as they're back trying to escape out of the room. And he's trying to stack items to get to the skylight in a Jenga style. And he starts going through celebrities' names, and he figures out that he can push on the window. And as he pushes on the window, the Jenga stack falls over, and he falls right through the door, breaking it open. So now they can escape.
Yeah, it all works out.
All works out. Ryan and Sarah then arrive at the Murder We Wrote, which is the company that's hosting the party for them. And inside, it's dark, it's desolate, and they find what they think is a dead body in a chair as it spins around. But it's a woman who is Glenda, and she comes alive and like spooks them all.
Yeah, well, she has like a bullet wound.
She has a bullet wound on her head.
Eyes been all messed up. And but I just want to mention for a second, I love that the moment that this super fancy car is on the line.
Yeah,
everybody's ready to
everybody's
cheat.
in.
But no, everybody's ready to cheat.
Yeah.
Because they're going there to bribe to get the answer to the final question. Like, man, there's no honor amongst these thieves.
It is not.
Man. I mean,
and they ask for the final clue of the mystery, and she's like, I can't give that to you. So Ryan then offers a 10, a 5, and 2 singles, but he slides it to her in the slowest fashion possible.
It doesn't make it better if it's slower.
So then she's like, how much will you accept to tell us the clue? And she's like, $100. And so Sarah gives her $100 because like she's like, give her $100. And Ryan's like, I only have $17. And the funny part is when she gives her the 100, Ryan goes back to collect his $17 and she just takes it all.
Yeah.
So
she's like, you went out with only $17.
So Glenda gives them the final clue, which is check your jacket pocket. It doesn't make sense to them. We'll get back to that in a little bit. Back at the house, Kevin and Michelle ask Agent Henderson, who is now woken up, about the clue, and that's when he tells them that this isn't part of the game, that those guys were not actors, and that this is a real kidnapping. So back at the bar, Annie and Max have gotten the keys. They're playing Two Princes on the jukebox, and that's when they decide to go get Brooks out of the room. They go in the room, pull the hood off Brooks, and he's surprised to see them, and that's when he tries to tell them, this isn't real, or this is this.
And he's been beaten up bad.
This isn't a game. This is all real, and he's actually a smuggler, and they're in danger right now. And right as he's telling them this, guys start breaking through the door trying to get in. They're not buying it, and Annie questions, if this is real, is this gun real? And he's like, Annie, no, be careful with that.
Be careful with it. Yeah.
She shoots it, drops it, and then it shoots again and shoots Max right into the arm because he looks at his arm and goes, blood!
My only complaint in the entire film
oh, yes.
is it's a revolver. And the revolver would not accidentally fire when you drop it.
It would not.
I know there are some fancy, rare revolvers that could, or if it was already cocked or whatever. But yeah, revolver doesn't go off when you drop it. My only complaint in the whole film, everything else is not only fine, it's realistic.
It is. It is realistic except for that.
And everything else.
And everything else. But no, I do want to point out here, though, like this scene in the bar is where you really start to fall in love with Max and Annie. I mean, you like them from the start, but like them in this bar just thinking everything's fake and doing all this shit, like playing Two Princes on the jukebox and dancing while those guys are on the ground. I love their chemistry in this.
No, it's really good stuff.
So Brooks confesses that he buys and sells illegal shit, and he recently angered a guy that goes by the name of the Bulgarian by shorting him a Fabergé egg that he wanted, but this rich guy that was named, where do I have his alias? Give me a second here.
I don't know.
Marlon Freeman.
Marlon Freeman
got the egg, got the real egg, because he offered him double for it, so that means that Brooks shorted the Bulgarian the real egg, and that's why they're after him now. They can't go to the police because the Bulgarian has them in his pocket, and a car chase ensues as the three of them escape, and Brooks realizes that, you know, they're on his trail, they're not going to give up. He apologizes to Max, then jumps out of the car, basically sacrificing himself to get taken hostage.
It's actually a really sweet moment, too, because as he's opening the door, they're, what are you doing? He leans over to his brother, he's just like, I love you. And then he jumps out. And he's right. The second he rolls on the ground, the van turns to get to him.
And stops.
Because he's the one they want.
Yep. So Max, who is feeling woozy from his gunshot, tells her that since they can't go to the hospital because, you know, they report a gunshot, they call the police, that they have to take the bullet out. There's a really hilarious exchange between the two of them. Like, okay, well, we'll just find a mob doctor. Do you know a mob doctor? Well, what about one of those veterinarians that works for the mob?
Do you know that either?
No.
He's like, what is with the mob things? He's like, I'm kind of just terrified. So they go to a corner store and get whatever they can to put it all together.
They don't have hard booze, so they get a bottle of like Chardonnay, basically.
Chardonnay,
cheap Chardonnay. They get a pocket knife, a chew toy, a sewing kit, and a magazine. And he's like, what's this for? And she's like, well, there's a really good article in there on corn chowder I want to try.
Yeah, a recipe for corn chowder I want to try.
So Annie rejoins him in the alley, and they go through a website that is an alt-right website. She goes, okay.
That was really funny. I just have to get past the racist stuff to find how to patch a gun wound.
How to remove a bullet. And that's when she starts to make what was supposed to be a small incision.
Yeah, she cuts like half his damn arm. And then the best part is after that, they keep almost making each other puke, which is very funny. They keep dry heaving. No, if you do it, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
But then it turns out that if they looked on the other side of his arm.
But let's stop.
Oh, yeah.
Because she's tapping on a thing, and she's like, what's that? Is that the bullet?
Bone.
And he's like, no, that's my bone. That's bone. And she's like, wait, did you get shot a second time? Revealing that the bullet exited.
Yeah, that there's no bullet in his arm at all. So they just cut him open.
And he's
for the
bleeding
hell
a
of it.
lot.
Yeah, he is bleeding quite a bit. So they stitch him up and head to figure out what to do next.
Yeah, so they're back at their house with the group, and they want to track down Marlon Freeman and get the real egg back. Ryan suggests a police computer, and Annie takes the group over to Gary's house because she realizes that's the closest access they have to a police computer. So they get to Gary's house, staging that they want to have this late game night and that they've missed him and that they miss hanging out with him and Debbie. And Gary, of course, invites them in, and right as they sit down for a game of Jenga, Max is like, hey, can I use your bathroom? So he goes back and finds Gary's laptop, closes the bathroom door to make it look like he's in there, and that's when he goes and searches both Marlon Freeman to find out his real name is Donald Anderton, and he searches the Bulgarian to find out that he has charges for human trafficking, torture, kidnapping, a bunch of murder charges, and he's like, oh my God, Brooks, what did you get into?
And all of them say that he's not in captivity. He's on the loose.
He's on the loose. So right as this is happening, he's searching. Bastian, Gary's dog, comes in as he's typing, and he starts realizing that he's dripping blood, and now the blood is on Bastian.
Yeah, so he tries to clean him up. It makes it worse. The dog is bright white, starts shaking and stuff, and the blood is just all over the room to the point where he finally just goes, you know what? I can't fix this or explain it, so I'm just going to get the hell out of here.
And one thing I want to say before we get to the next scene is that Max calls out when he realizes that he's bleeding, and it gets Gary's attention, and Gary's like, I'm going to go see what that is, and everybody is like, oh, no, it's fine, like, he's fine. And then Sarah goes, hey, tell me about Debbie.
Yeah, and did we mention that his work computer was in a shrine?
We did not.
To his ex-wife.
Yes.
So he's clearly not over it. In fact, he put Debbie in as the password.
Yep.
So then all of a sudden he's perfectly distracted. But eventually, like we said, he just gives up on trying to clean up the mess.
Because it gets all over the shrine, too.
It's literally the entire room is covered in a little bit of blood.
So that's when he goes out and he's like, this is a stupid idea. We got to leave. And Gary's like, well, it's your turn. So he goes to grab the block right under the whole tower and just topples it, and they all leave.
Yeah, he goes, he goes, I came in a little hot on that one, I guess.
Yeah. So in the car, the kidnappers call Max, and he sets up an exchange at the 4th Street Bridge in an hour. They then arrive at Donald Anderson's house. They get in because as they arrive, a car's exiting, so they fly through the gate. So they're on the grounds, and downstairs, that's when they find out, we forgot to mention this as well, Ryan, in the beginning of the movie, talks about how there's rumors that all the rich people have a fight club.
He's kind of obsessed with the idea, like, oh, are we going to a fight club? Is there going to be a fight club?
Yeah.
Maybe he's going to throw us a fight club.
Yeah. Downstairs, Ryan is thrilled to find that in Donald Anderson's house, there is a rich person fight club in progress.
Yep, 2 men bare-knuckle fighting in between a circle of rich people, all betting
eating lobster,
money.
drinking champagne, having a great time. And that's when they all decide to separate and search for the egg, except Ryan, because he's like, oh, well, who's not to say the egg's down here? Because he wants to watch the show.
Of course.
Kevin then confronts Michelle again, asking who the celeb was she slept with, and that's when she confesses that during their break, she ran into Denzel Washington at a gas station.
And the best part about that is they show the flashback of her running into him.
Yes.
And it's a guy who favors Denzel Washington about 65%.
Yeah. Yes.
like he does. He looks a little bit like Denzel.
Meets at a gas station, talks about how premium is probably the same as regular gas. They have an amazing night out at a club. She offers to pay for things, which she thought was awesome that he let her do that.
Yeah, since he's the rich celebrity.
They go back to his to his place and have a great night, and that's when she's like, if you don't believe me, I have a picture revealing that it is not Denzel Washington.
Yeah, her husband looks at him and immediately goes, sweetie, that's not Denzel. That's not Denzel. He looks like Denzel. But it's not Denzel. And then she looks at it and zooms in, and she's like, oh.
It's not.
No, it's not Denzel. He's like, didn't he introduce himself? She's like, well, no, he went to introduce himself. I said, oh, I know who you are.
So Annie and Max search while she questions if, Max really wants to have a kid, and that's when he says this metaphor about how back in their days, they used to play Pac-Man like super late, and it was always going for the pellets and not the fruit. Because if you go for the fruit, that's when you risk it, and that's when you don't play safe. And this kind of upsets Annie because she's like, are you always going to want to play it safe then? Are you always going to want to have the freedom to do these things and not raise a family? So they both kind of get angry at each other. Downstairs, Ryan watches the fight club continue, and a butler is unloading a bunch of money into a safe, revealing the Fabergé egg is also in the safe.
And it was downstairs.
It was downstairs.
Yeah, so it turns out the best bet was to watch the rich person's fight club.
Which, since everybody's distracted with it, he decides that's a great time to go ahead and retrieve it, unaware that as he goes and grabs it, the guy that gets knocked out falls down right in front of him.
Yeah, it's so great, too, because as he's stealing it, literally, he's in front of everyone and no one notices.
No one
he's
notices.
Completely right.
Yeah.
How he's like, oh, they're all going to be watching the fight.
Yeah.
So then he's just standing there holding, going like, watching the fight club. And then the guy gets knocked out and falls right at his feet. So then everybody looks up at the guy.
Holding the giant Fabergé egg.
And the rich guy, I forget his name.
Danny Houston's his name. Is the actor's name. Donald Anderson.
Yeah, the guy who owns the place and everything, he isn't even mad. He's just like, who are you?
Who
and why do you have my egg?
Yeah.
He's not even like, give me back my egg. He's just like, why do you have my egg?
Why do you have my egg? And he's like, oh, well, I have a bunch of these at my mansion.
I just wanted to look at yours, you know?
So that's when, it ensues with everybody chasing him, trying to get the egg, and we get a nice game of hot potato with everyone in the group trying to run away with the egg and catch it.
One of the highlights of the whole film.
So cool.
It's played as one long take.
Yeah.
And I don't know where they hid cuts. I'm sure they did.
Yeah.
But so it's just a camera
chase around the mansion.
A camera on a gimbal going up the stairs, down the stairs, across the chandeliers, everywhere as they're tossing this thing back and forth. It's a really fun sequence.
And it gets knocked out of people's hands. It's rolling down the stairs at one point. People are catching it. And finally, they get out the mansion and they go to meet at the rendezvous place. Annie questions if Max wants to have a baby again and if they can't do more shit like that, basically calling him out on that.
Yeah, she's basically like, is that what you want to do instead of having a baby?
Yeah.
Is more stuff like that where we almost die?
So they're driving to the 4th Street Bridge and finally they spot it. And that's when they brake as they spot it and the egg flies to the front of the car, shattering. So the egg is now shattered. But inside, they find that the gems were fake and also a list that says Witsec. And it's a list of a bunch of names, and they're like, well, what is this? What did Brooks get into? Then they see Brooks and the kidnappers are on the bridge. They meet up then, offering the list, and that's when they're all forced to the ground at gunpoint. Brooks questions why they came and also admits that, I'm not as great as you think I am. I'm actually a fraud. Like, the only reason that I won was because I always wanted the best you, so I cheated.
Yeah,
I cheated all the time.
Since we were little kids, we'd cheat. And it is really sad.
Yeah.
But it also kind of, it humanizes the character a lot. And it's a really sweet moment, though, that he confesses that to his little brother. In reality, he's just a crook. He just took all the shortcuts. He never worked on Wall Street. I mean, he sold cocaine
to the guys.
To the traders. Yeah, but that's about it.
And that's when he also confesses the clue that we had heard previously where look in your pocket. And that's when Max reaches in his pocket and the keys for the Stingray have been in there the entire time.
And he says that he'd fixed the game for that night so that he would win no matter what, so he could get the car of his dreams as like a repayment for all the times he cheated him.
So when he pulls the keys out of his pocket, they hear that like they're about to be shot. Basically, suddenly a police car speeds up as Gary exits and begins exchanging gunfire between the two, and eventually dropping both the criminals. The group is relieved by this, and they find that Gary has revealing that he put it together, like, that they were in trouble by searching his computer and the blood on the shrine and everything. So, they think that he's saved, and then suddenly he's shot from the back as blood starts pouring from his mouth, and Annie tries to comfort him. Gary's laying against his car, and, he's like, take care of Bastion.
And this is after he's shot up the bad guys. He's totally been a badass, completely jumping across the hood of his car, doing all kinds of cool stuff. But now he's shot, he's laying there, blood's coming out of his mouth.
Like, you got to take care of Bastion for me. All I wanted was to attend another game night with you. And they're like, hey, man, you're going to get through this. You're going to attend every game night. And that's when he spits out his blood capsule, revealing that he orchestrated this whole thing. Yeah,
and my favorite thing, so those guys are actually like, no, those are felons.
Those are felons.
But
they
got some time shaved off their parole for helping me.
And, he's so proud of himself with this, and that's when Annie is like, well, wait, so does that mean, like, you tied in the egg and the Bulgarian and the WITSEC list? And he's like, well, what are you talking about?
And then she shows him the list. He's like, this is a list of people in the Federal Witness Protection Program.
How do you have this? Why do you have this?
Yeah.
And that is when he is shot for real.
Yes. This time, luckily, in a place that may not be fatal.
Yeah.
Because his first shot was right in center mass.
Right in center, yeah.
This one, which was real, was near his shoulder.
Yeah.
So he got winged.
So that's when we see two men approach, and one of them asks who is Brooks, and Brooks says that that it's him, and he's like, you don't look like an asshole. Do I look like an asshole? And we should mention that the Bulgarian at this point, played by Michael C. Hall.
Well, he's always played by him.
Always
not
played
just
by him.
at this point. Well, Michael C. Hall of Dexter fame, for those who enjoyed the good parts of that show, which was most of it.
New Blood really wrapped that series up well.
It was fun. Yeah. I liked it a lot, but let's maybe we could have stopped at season 5.
Yeah, we could have stopped season 5. I'd give season 6. Season 6 was solid. You're gonna stop at the Lumen season, really?
I mean, I think that I'm being generous.
Trinity is season 6.
No, it's not.
Or 4, season 4. So,
I said 5.
Season 4, yeah. Lumen.
5 is Lumen.
6 is the religious one, and I like that. Edward James Olmos.
He almost makes it good.
Oh, my God.
I'm a treasure.
Anyway, so that's when Brooks is, realizing that he's in danger. So in a desperate attempt, he just eats the list. And the Bulgarian's like, well, that was really stupid. And he's like, hey, I'm just buying some time. He's like, well, why? We're going to take you to the private room.
We're just going to cut you open on the private plane. Yeah.
So that's when they take Brooks away, and Max, realizing that they have the keys to the Stingray and the car is close, they race to the private runway. So we see Brooks and the Bulgarian are on the plane, and the Bulgarian is basically setting him up to get him cut open.
And we're going through this quickly, but it all makes pretty good sense. Like, after he takes the brother, he turns to her and says, like, there's only one airport near her that flies private.
Yeah.
So they know where they're going. They know what they've got to do. They got to save his brother using a bitchin' Stingray.
Stingray pulls in, Bulgarian and Brooks see it, so the Bulgarian's like, get this plane running, and that's when, in a very badass move, Max, in the Stingray, takes out the front wheels of the fucking plane.
Which is brilliant, because no pilot would take off a plane that didn't have its front wheel, because you can't land it.
Yeah.
So it's perfect. And I love that she says, you like Taken 3?
Yeah, like Taken 3?
Like, yes.
He did that in Taken 3? So the plane nosedives, it's stopped, and Max and Annie then separate from the car as the henchman exits the plane, and she is trying to hide from him and also get him to come over to her because he's on Max's trail, and that's when she sees that that's when Max sees that this track next to her, this belt, I can't think what it's called,
It's a conveyor belt.
Conveyor belt, yeah, conveyor belt, thank you. It has this crate at the end of it, so he tries to do charades to get her to push the button, which she does.
I love how when she's like, do charades, and he's like, charades, he's like, oh, what a great full circle that is.
Yeah, great full circle. So he gets it to turn on the belt. She turns it on, and the belt goes very slow.
Yeah, which
where
makes sense, actually.
The henchman just watches the package go
and then
slower
gently
and up,
steps away.
It
because it was probably like 300 pounds.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so he just gently takes like 2 steps back so it doesn't crush him.
Yeah, so the belt is very slow. The thing drops back, and that's when Annie pops out and clocks him with the fire extinguisher and gets his gun. Max, thinking that he can get the drop on the Bulgarian, decides that he's going to go to the top of the plane, so he takes the machine gun in, and it's hilarious because the Bulgarian is still like menacing with Brooks, and we just hear and see the top of the plane open as Max drops in and also like misses, like he doesn't land on his feet.
No, he does not.
So that's when he gets the jump on the Bulgarian, or tries to, and Brooks decides that he's going to try and help his brother. He headbutts the Bulgarian. Bulgarian then throws a knife, which lands right into Max's bullet hole.
Right into his forearm where he got shot.
And a fight breaks out as Annie rushes into the plane and is stopped by a henchman. He's like, she's like, please, I have kids. And the guy's like, with an ass like that? And she's like, oh, thank you.
It's a very funny moment.
And so then that's when Brooks and Max and the Bulgarian are all fighting on the plane. Max and the Bulgarian go to the front of the plane, turns on the engine, and the henchman outside gets sucked through the engine.
Yeah, and she's like, yes. And then, oh God,
he died.
No, he died. Oh, God.
So Max gets a hand on the Bulgarian, starts choking him with the bungee cords, and the Bulgarian goes to fire at him, but that's when Annie drops in the plane, dropping the fire extinguisher on his head, knocking him out. And Max ties the Bulgarian into a very funny way because it looks like he's basically trying to suck his own dick.
I mean, that's a very mature way to put it, David.
And Brooks does make that comment as well. So that's when he tells Annie that, he's thought about it. He wants to have a baby, and, he wants to make a family with her, which is the fruit. He wants to chase the fruit, not just the pellets. And at hearing this, Brooks starts congratulating him and applauding, and he's like, this was the plan all along. I orchestrated this whole thing. Tom, go ahead and stand up.
And he doesn't.
He's
like, I'm just fucking with you. But wouldn't that have been wild?
So we go to 3 months later. We see Annie and Max are going over to Brooks, who is on 36-month house arrest.
Suffering thuckertash.
Shut the fuck up. For a game night, he's on 36 months house arrest, and he also confesses that he eventually pooped out the list and sold it for $36 million. And Max is like,
$6 million.
Was it $6 million?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm thinking 36 to 36 months. That's why I wrote that down. Sold it for $6 million, and Max is like, well, that's going to get all those people killed. And he's like, well, actually, I gave him a heads up for $20,000 each.
Yeah. This guy knows how to do it.
And also, we see the doctor is now dating Brooks as well.
Yep, the fertility doctor. Yeah.
So Gary is also included in the game night, and he is failing at charades because he's drawn a picture of himself crying, and it's supposed to be Green Mile because this is him at the Regal. This is him going to see Green Mile and crying, and they're like, well, how did we know that?
And he's like, I thought everybody cried when they watched the Green Mile.
So Annie then goes next in charades, and that's when she draws a bun in the oven, revealing that she's pregnant, and they all go in for a happy moment. But outside, we see 2 more guys in a van with guns getting ready to go in, and that is when we get the credits for game night.
And the credits, it doesn't end with the credits.
It does not.
The credits are super fun. We get a peek at the basically the planning
breakdown
board
by breakdown
for the entire scheme.
Yeah,
that
Gary planned for the game night hijack.
And it is insanely detailed. And it ends with him staring at it with his dog with his dead eyes.
He's just smiling. Well, and we forgot the final thing that they show us is that Gary is still spying on Debbie because Debbie's having
there's a shot of
somebody.
Debbie having coffee, and it says, "Who's having a beverage with my ex-wife Debbie?"
And it just so happens the post-credit sequence, we see Denzel wannabe at the gas station.
He's not a wannabe. Others are mistaken. He's not trying to be Denzel.
We see him at the gas station, and he's talking to somebody, and he's like, hey, you're really cute. Like, what's your name? And she's like, Debbie. So Debbie and the Denzel guy are dating now.
Oh, my gosh.
So that is Game Night from 2018, and my God, what a fun movie.
It is a super fun ride. It has just about everything you could like. It's a little raunchy, but not super raunchy.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of jokes. It's got some dirty jokes, some clean jokes, a boatload of action. That's the thing that is really surprising. And actually, I don't know this information. I would love to know. What was the budget?
So the budget was $37 million.
That's a lot for a comedy.
The film opens on February 25th in 2018 and takes in $17 million its first week. It grosses $69,268,268,
nice.
$230 US and Canada. Worldwide, it grosses $117 million.
That's pretty good. I mean, it's not like an unbelievable hit, but that is very good. Very, very good.
So it's shot in My God, I can't talk. Marietta, thank you. Georgia, which they started shooting in April of 2017. The producer, John Fox, had the film's title and asked Mark Perez, the writer, for story ideas. Perez took inspiration from Three Amigos and Tropic Thunder. The idea was pitched to 20th Century Fox, who liked it, and then they pitched it to Jason Bateman, who also liked it. Project was then sold to New Line around 2013, 2014.
Turnover.
Bateman was initially slated to direct as well as produce and star in the film. However, with Goldstein and Daley were hired to rewrite it, it was clear to Bateman that they also wanted to direct it as well, so Bateman decided to go ahead and let them do that. Tilt shift lens is used to give several wide aerial shots that miniaturize the look of the Game of Life board game.
It really works well too. It's one of my favorite style choices of the whole film. And there's a lot of really good directing style in this. By the way,
is.
A lot of things like where they're opening and closing doors and the camera is attached to the doors and stuff. Just make it feel really kinetic.
Prior to filming, the cast members had their own game night so that they could get to know one another and prepare for the film. They played Clue and Joking Hazard. The house that Max's brother Brooks rents and the mystery begins in is the same house where Michael Keaton's Vulture lives in Spider-Man Homecoming.
I loved Homecoming.
Well, the writers that directed this, so the writers of Homecoming directed this, so that's why they had the access to that house.
Or because they just knew about it and they had money.
Your face.
Oh, well, I mean, that is a fair point.
At the beginning of the film, when Max and Annie are making out on the subway, a scrolling sign in the background reads, "Don't trust Gary."
I wonder if that means anything.
Could be. Throughout the film, several children's games are played. Simon Says, when Annie is holding the gun on the kidnappers in the bar. Hot Potato, which is played with the Fabergé egg in Anderson's house. Charades, Annie and Max at the airport. Operation, when Annie removes the bullet from Max.
Oh, yeah, that's clever.
Jenga and Guess Who, when Kevin and Michelle's argument in the locked room and the eventual escape.
Yes, yeah, okay, I never even thought about some of those.
Yeah, and lastly, Malcolm X. Hughes, who plays Kenny, who Michelle mistook for Denzel, is in real life a professional Denzel Washington lookalike.
That's fucking great.
Yeah.
I want to know, like, what's the average salary for that? Because I'm available.
So final thoughts on game night. You want to go first?
Yeah, this is tough because we've talked about how hard it is to say buy it. You know, we judge things on a stream it, rent it, or buy it scale.
Yeah.
And it's hard to say buy it because I really do think that a lot of times movies need a degree of nostalgia to be like an absolute buy it to me to everybody. But I'm going to throw caution to the wind and say this one's worth buying.
Okay.
I think you could watch it again and again. It's the kind of film we were talking about. Like, I don't have cable, like modern cable or pre-modern cable.
Yeah.
But if I saw it flipping through channels, I would absolutely be like, yeah, I'll watch the last 45 minutes of game night.
Hell yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give it a buy it.
I am going to give it a rent it with a buy it caveat, depending on where you fall in your social media. Just saying. It's one of those films you can't help but have fun while watching it. The characters are likable and fun to follow while they put the clues together of what is going on. The one-liners don't stop or get tiresome, in my opinion. I think they're pretty solid, and the twists keep you guessing up until those last few minutes what is actually going on. Plus, the several twists that you get even towards the end that changes things is so much fun. And Jesse Plemons in this is I mean, a sole reason to watch, in my opinion.
I mean, he's a highlight.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of highlights.
A lot of highlights, but Plemons is so good in this. So, yeah, I would give it a rent it. That is my final thought for game night.
Well, great job, David.
Would you like to talk some recommendations that we'd like to talk when we wrap up the show?
Sure, even though you steal the best ones.
You want to go first then?
No, I don't.
Well, too bad. I'm kidding. So, recommendations, I'm going to give two. First one I'm going to give is The Game from 1997 with Michael Douglas. After a wealthy San Francisco banker is given an opportunity to participate in a mysterious game, his life is turned upside down as he begins to question if it might really be a concealed conspiracy to destroy him.
A concealed conspiracy.
Concealed conspiracy. That's from IMDb, baby.
Oh, well, okay.
The other one I'm going to give...
That's a good rec, though.
Yeah, I love The Game. If you have not seen The Game, my God, man, it is
a phenomenal
fantastic movie. And the last one I'm going to give is The Nice Guys from 2016. 1970s Los Angeles, a mismatched pair of private eyes investigate a missing girl and the mysterious death of a porn star.
And my suggestion, I had to think about it for a minute. I'm going to go with something that's similar in tone.
Okay.
Like it'd be a good tone choice, which would be Observe and Report.
Yeah.
Because not only does it have Jesse Plemons in, although he's a very small role at that time, he was not hugely famous.
Yeah.
But it has a very similar tone in that there's jokes, big laughs, and then shit gets really real, really fast.
Yeah.
And I like that. I mean, I think Observe and Report's one of the best films of the last few decades.
The ending is so surprising. I love it every time.
It's excellent. So I'm going to say Observe and Report, which is also a buy it. Fuck you.
Yeah, that's fair. That's
fair. I don't know why I had to swear at everybody, but I stand by it.
You did.
I did. So shoot. That is Game Night.
Game Night, and that may have been a quick recap, but that's because there is so much action in this movie that you really do have to see it to see the way the setup is for the camera, the execution on the stunts and everything. I mean, hell, there's some pretty awesome stunts in this movie.
The whole movie's done extremely well.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised it cost $37 million. I am surprised that it made it back.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. I love that.
Well, and I love a good action comedy, especially when it feels pretty balanced. Like, it doesn't feel like there's one more than the other.
I don't think it's... I mean, it becomes more action as the film progresses.
Yeah.
To the point where literally the last few scenes are just action.
Just action, yeah. Absolutely.
So it definitely, like, it's like transforming. It's like a werewolf, seeing the full moon. Slowly becomes an action film.
So you want to tease what we're going to be talking about next week?
Oh, or we could read mail.
I mean, we could read mail first.
This one is from Mike Eschewey, our buddy Birdman.
Yes, Birdman.
Hello, guys. Wanted to say that your episode on The Menu really inspired me as an online content creator. I have been working on This Week in Geek since 2007 and am one of Canada's longest-running podcasts, and something that you two said really hit me.
Ooh.
You spoke of podcasters being service industry.
Awesome.
And that struck me, especially when you spoke of how we make people happy, and sometimes it's the little things that make it worthwhile.
Yeah.
It really invigorated me as a content creator, and I think it was what I needed to hear. So I had a thought about some potential future ideas for movies to cover, because you mentioned Strange Days
Yes.
and Virtuosity.
Yes.
I would absolutely adore it if you took on some cyberpunk-themed movies.
I'm down.
I don't think that genre gets enough love. Johnny Mnemonic is one of my all-time favorites, for example.
Due for a rewatch on that.
Do you have any cyberpunk movies off the top of your head that you'd really like to jump into?
Strange Days is definitely one. I need to get a copy of it because I don't know how available it is nowadays, but that's definitely one I would like to do. I mean, Virtuosity, obviously.
I would love to cover Virtuosity. That's one I feel like everybody forgot.
Yeah, I would say the same.
Russell Crowe is a little baby in it. And it's got Denzel in it, the real one.
Yeah. And I don't know if it would be one that I'd want to talk on the show or not. Maybe like just a mention, but Equilibrium has some of the best gun sequences of any action
That's
film.
a fun one, yeah. So the other part is now for something random.
Ooh.
Odd question. What would happen if the worlds of Brave Little Toaster and Sausage Party coexisted? Would sentient appliances prey on sentient food?
I love The Brave Little Toaster. I also was traumatized by that movie because that movie's got some terrifying imagery in it, even as an adult.
Movie.
I love that movie too. I was not a big fan of Sausage Party.
I don't think many people were.
Yeah, and apparently it's getting a Netflix spinoff series.
But what do you think about the idea of the Brave Little Toaster burning to death sentient slices of bread? David.
That is an image.
Or worse yet, sentient Pop-Tarts.
That's Pop-Tarts, yeah, that's also an image. My God, combining those two universes is going to give me some nightmares now.
Good, you deserve some.
Is that so?
Yeah, you sleep way too well considering all things. So, last part is glad to be a listener, patron, and guy locked in Henrique's basement. Love, Birdman.
This is true.
I don't have a basement as far as anyone is aware.
No, we do not.
So, but let me see if I can find. There was another one. Somebody wrote in via the website, doyouevenmovie.com.
Yeah.
And if you want to write in and recommend movies or anything or comments or anything, all you have to do is go to doyouevenmovie.com or email us at doyouevenmoviepod@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. So let me. I've almost found it.
Okay.
This one is from Tim Smith.
Okay.
He wrote this to us on our website. It sends to a different email address. It's a pain.
Gotcha.
I need to figure out how to fix it. It's not his fault.
Yeah.
But he wrote in and said, great podcast. I'd love to hear you guys review Tough Turf with James Spader and RDJ.
Yes. I need to show you Tough Turf. Oh my God.
I've never seen it. I'd watch it.
Oh, it's so good.
My dad loved that movie, and I've grown to love it also due to seeing it so much, and I have the soundtrack as well.
I have it on cassette and vinyl.
Marianne Faithfull has the main track on there, which is the singer who sings on Metallica's Memory Remains.
Yeah, that's correct.
I would be down to watch Tough Turf.
Tough Turf it's basically like, what if John Hughes did the class of 1984? Yes, I'm not kidding.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
shit, I want to watch it then.
Yeah.
Jesus, that
Yeah.
sounds amazing.
No, it's pretty great.
So, and before we get to next week's movie,
Yes, sir.
we're going to wait till next week to announce our live show.
Yes.
Okay, because
Yes.
we are going to be doing a live stream, a day-long live stream, which we'll announce on the beginning of our next show.
We could tentatively say it now because I think we're going to be okay. Tentatively. Well, let's just go ahead and say it.
Okay, go ahead.
You ready?
No.
June 1st.
June 1st.
We are going to be doing a live stream. If you're familiar with our live streams in the past, it's been probably about 6 or 7 months now, it feels like.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a while.
But we used to live stream a lot when Dave would come and hang out in the studio
Yep.
and stuff like that. And we'll be streaming video games. We'll be talking about movies. We'll take live calls.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll be doing all kinds of things like that. And one of our favorite things is allowing people to pay money.
Mm-hmm.
You donate to the show, and you can make David play just about any Super Nintendo or Nintendo game that ever existed.
Yep.
And some of them are really awful.
Some of them are terrible.
Yes, and we might even get Dave to drink.
Oh, and that's also a good point to announce that this is going to be a pre-birthday show because my birthday will be falling on June 6th, as it always does.
Boo.
And I have that entire week off work because I'm a genius and might also be getting root canal work done.
That's the way to do it. That's the
Yeah.
gift that keeps on giving.
Ain't it,
So keep an eye out on June 1st. We'll be on our YouTube channel. And if you want to check doyouevenmovie.com that day, there will be a link to the live stream before it goes up.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to tune in. We'll probably be streaming for a minimum of 6 or 7 hours.
Yeah, I figured at least 10 at the
We'll
most.
stream for a hot minute. So you guys can join in. We'd love to see you Do You Even Movie folks. And speaking of seeing you guys next time, David, next month is Roger Corman Appreciation Month.
Yes, it is.
Or RAM for short.
RAM. Hey.
Before the show, Dave was like, I can't come up with a catchy thing for it. I was like, well, he just died. We don't have to be catchy.
Yeah.
But RAM, let's not call it RAM.
No, let's not.
But we're keeping the cards to our chest of what the all 4 films are going to be.
Yes.
But the first one is going to be one of Dave's all-time favorite films from Roger Corman as producer.
Mm-hmm.
Go on.
From 1980, we are going to be talking about Humanoids from the Deep, one of my all-time favorite Corman movies, also coinciding with my birthday show release. And this is a 14-year-old's dream horror film. It's got boobs, it's got gore, it's got monsters.
The most rape of all Roger Corman films?
Is it the most rape? Are you sure?
I am positive.
Okay, well,
that's why it's your favorite,
that's
right?
That's why it's my favorite, but at the same time, unfortunately, that's one of the first ones I ever saw. Because it was unavailable for the longest time to where the first time I ever saw it was a bootleg that somebody had gotten for me at Wasteland.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
ripped off a VHS.
Well, Humanoids is one of the most fun of that era of Corman. So that'll be our first episode, and we'll be doing that next Tuesday.
That is correct.
So anything else you want to get across, Davey, before we get the hell out of here?
Don't forget, you can follow us on all our socials. We are on Facebook at Do You Even Movie. You can also find us on Instagram at Do You Even Movie Pod, as well as not TikTok anymore, unfortunately.
Yeah, we're long gone from there. And if you want to show some love, like this video if you're watching it on YouTube. If you're listening to this on a podcast and you haven't left us a star rating on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, that's a free way you can really help us out. And at doyouevenmovie.com, we have a little bit of merch. We don't talk about it much, but we have one t-shirt. We also have our Patreon, which if you join, you can hear the show earlier in video format. Yep. We really appreciate all the support. But now it's time for us to get out of here. So we will see you next Tuesday. Oh, that was horrible. I hate you.